Welcome back to the deep dive. So, we often get into these massive complex systems.
Supply chains, global finance, that kind of thing.
Exactly. But today we're zooming in on something that's, well, just as complex, but I think often overlooked.
Definitely. The logistics of corporate success.
And specifically, executive travel. We've been digging into some really interesting source material, a specialized guide for high-end transportation, focused on the corporate world out in the Riverside area.
And it's funny because while the guide is, hyper-local to Southern California, the framework we pulled from it is absolutely universal.
That's what struck me too.
When you're dealing with C-suite travel, investor roadshows, client meetings, punctuality isn't a perk. It's just table stakes.
It's the bare minimum.
Right. So our mission today is to really distill these 10 expert tips that can fundamentally shift how you think about travel. We're moving it from just booking a ride to executing a strategic logistical solution.
A solution that actually enhances productivity and, well, mitigates risk. It's the difference between hoping you arrive on time and actually guaranteeing it.
That's the whole game?
For the serious business traveler, this is all about maximizing every single minute with this consistent professional sheen.
You can really break it down into 3 pillars: mitigating risk, maximizing time, and managing image.
Nail those 3.
And you've turned a necessary expense into a revenue enabler.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with what I think is the most common executive pain point, that punctuality panic. How do you build a delay-proof plan?
Well, tip number 1, according to our sources, is almost deceptively simple.
Book early to ensure availability.
Exactly.
But let's be honest, aren't executives kind of inherently last minute? What's the real cost of not booking early? I mean, beyond just a little inconvenience.
That's a really good question, actually. In the world of executive service, waiting until the last minute, it doesn't just mean you might not get a car. It means you compromise the quality of the service itself. Corporate travel peaks are brutal. Think big conferences or that 4 a.m. run to the airport.
Oh, yeah.
When you book late, you're not just dealing with surge pricing. More importantly, you might get handed off to a less experienced driver or a vehicle that isn't your first choice.
So early booking is really just pure risk mitigation.
It is. It secures your preferred, vetted chauffeur and gives them the time they need for proper route planning.
So you're buying quality assurance, not just a seat. And that flows right into tip number 2, choosing the right vehicle for your needs. This feels like common sense, but the guide is very specific about matching the vehicle to the mission. Why is that so critical?
Because the vehicle is your first handshake.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's your most secure meeting room.
Okay.
A luxury sedan, that's the standard for a solo exec or a key client. It communicates polish, focus. But if you have confidential documents or a small team, an SUV isn't just about luggage space.
It's about security.
It's elevated security, discreet transport. Exactly.
Yeah. And what about for those, massive movements? I'm thinking a whole department heading to a retreat outside of Corona or something.
Then you scale up. You go to the executive vans or the sprinters. These are essentially mobile conference rooms.
Right.
If you try to manage that same group with, say, 3 different ride shares, you immediately lose coordination, you lose communication. The whole cohesive image is just gone.
And the stretch limo?
That's reserved for maximum impact. Think celebratory client signings or very high-profile public events.
It's like operationalizing your company's image. So, okay, you've booked the right vehicle. Tip 3 pushes us toward providing detailed itineraries.
Yeah, this is where the real pro-level planning comes in.
How does a professional service handle this differently than, just plugging an address into a consumer GPS app?
This is where we get into the technical side of it. We're not talking about just a standard traffic app that refreshes every few minutes.
Oh.
High-end services use real-time commercial fleet management software. So when you provide flight numbers, exact venue addresses, meeting times, the chauffeur isn't just following a route. They're engaging in what's called dynamic rerouting.
Dynamic rerouting.
Exactly. It means they're constantly cross-referencing their system, which often has proprietary data on things like construction or event closures in, say, downtown Riverside.
Stuff your phone wouldn't know yet.
Right. And they check that against your scheduled arrival. If an accident happens 20 minutes before they pick you up, they know the best detour immediately. It just guarantees a smoother, delay-proof trip.
That makes sense for mitigating the immediate risks. But here's the strategic hurdle, right? We can plan all we want, but executive schedules, they change on a dime.
They absolutely do.
A client lunch runs long, an unexpected site visit pops up.
Yeah.
How do these services handle that inevitable chaos?
And that leads us directly to tip number 4, which is basically the operational safety net, using hourly or on-demand services for flexibility.
For those really unpredictable schedules, this seems essential.
For a high-value schedule, hourly booking is, well, it's non-negotiable.
But I have to ask, an hourly rate sounds expensive. How do you justify that cost over just booking a series of point-to-point rides?
It's a classic ROI calculation. You have to measure the hourly rate against the cost of a high-level executive waiting.
Or worse, missing a meeting.
Exactly. If an executive earning 6 or 7 figures wastes an hour sitting on a curb somewhere, the cost to the company just skyrockets. It far outweighs the premium for the service.
So hourly service buys you control.
It does. The chauffeur remains dedicated to you, ready for immediate, seamless adjustments. It's perfect for those dynamic events where you just can't afford to lose 10 minutes waiting for a booking confirmation.
It transforms the car from just a delivery mechanism into a fluid, on-demand resource. That makes sense. And speaking of streamlining, tip number 5 addresses the admin side, setting up a corporate account.
This is the systematic improvement. It's for the finance people, for management. A corporate account immediately streamlines billing. You get rid of all those messy individual expense reports.
But the strategic advantages go deeper.
Oh, much deeper.
Such as?
Priority service. For one, repeat customers with corporate accounts often get to jump the queue during peak hours. You can easily coordinate group travel, customize preferences.
Like specific security protocols for the COO or something?
Exactly. And critically, you get consolidated, transparent invoice tracking. The kind of detailed reporting you need for compliance and cost allocation, it's the shortcut that makes the CFO happy.
Okay, so we've mitigated risks, we've tamed the schedule chaos. Now, let's talk about maximizing the minutes that are otherwise just lost to traffic. This brings us to tip number 6. Maximize productivity during transit.
The mobile office ROI.
Yeah.
This is the key justification for the whole premium service model.
Right.
The time spent in transit has to be efficiency time, not wasted time. These luxury interiors, the quiet cabins, the secure Wi-Fi, they transform the vehicle into a legitimate mobile workspace.
And we're not just talking about glancing at emails here. For this level of service, what are the high-value actions executives are actually doing in the back of that car?
They're tackling mission-critical tasks, things that require focus and privacy.
Okay.
Think about prepping for an investor call. You need a soundproof environment. They can conduct video calls, review secure documents without worrying about an open network, or even refine a presentation moments before walking into the meeting.
So you're turning an hour of traffic into an hour of dedicated, productive work.
It's an enormous strategic advantage. You're buying time back.
That really reframes the whole thing. It's not a car. It's a rented, highly efficient, private meeting space that moves.
That's it, exactly. And that flows directly into tip number 7, which is all about the impression factor, focusing on client impressions.
Because the vehicle, the whole arrival experience, it's a huge part of your brand image.
It's a visible part, right? Arriving in a pristine, immaculate vehicle instantly enhances that image. It communicates competence, attention to detail, success.
You set the tone before you even shake hands.
You do. But the source material also emphasizes the human element here, which is important.
The chauffeur training.
Yes. These drivers are trained not just in navigation and safety, but in corporate etiquette. They're silent professional partners. They know how to handle VIPs, manage luggage discreetly. Every single interaction is polished.
It reflects the gravitas of your firm.
Precisely. For high-stakes client meetings, that trained professionalism is paramount.
Now let's get into the really big stuff, the large-scale logistics, the nightmares. Tip number 8 is crucial here, planning for team coordination.
Group travel is a logistical nightmare if it's not managed centrally.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Just picture coordinating 30 people arriving for an event in downtown Riverside. Different flights, different luggage needs. The goal is to get everyone there together, on time, and looking fresh.
Not stressed out from trying to find their own ride.
Exactly. You have to move beyond just hoping everyone can manage it themselves and centralize the command.
So it's more than just booking a bigger van, right? The service itself is absorbing the complexity.
It's managing the staggering complexity. We're talking coordinating multi-stop routes across different cities, Corona, Ontario, you name it. Handling all the luggage, cross-checking staggered arrival times. You give all of that detail to one point of contact, and they execute it.
And that centralization simplifies everything. Which brings us to tip number 9, which addresses the time factor. Considering multi-day packages, why is that consistency so important on longer trips?
It reduces cognitive load. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
If your business has you on a multi-day conference or a client tour, the last thing you want is to worry about rebooking a car every single morning.
Or dealing with a new driver who doesn't know your preferences.
Right. A multi-day package gives you uninterrupted service, often with the same dedicated chauffeur. It simplifies management, it builds familiarity, and honestly, it just reduces stress.
It's like having a dedicated logistics manager on retainer for the trip.
That's a great way to put it.
And finally, tip number 10. It brings us full circle, back to clear expectations, communicate special requests clearly.
It sounds so obvious.
It does, but why is it so essential for maintaining that high standard?
Because any deviation from the standard plan, no matter how small, can cause a chain reaction of delays if the driver isn't prepared.
Like what?
Well, do you need specific climate control for a sensitive client? Are you bringing bulky trade show materials? Are there specific instructions, like using a private entrance or a particular pickup lane at the airport?
So it's all about transparent communication to eliminate any surprises.
That's the only way to maintain the punctuality that corporate travel absolutely demands.
You know, the source material had this powerful real-life scenario that pulls all 10 of these ideas together. A Riverside-based consulting firm on a 2-day investor roadshow.
Yeah, that case study is the perfect synthesis of all of this. They combined early booking for both sedans and vans, which took care of tips 1 and 2.
Right, ensuring availability.
They provided a complete, detailed itinerary, enabling that dynamic rerouting we talked about. That's tip 3. And crucially, they used the hourly service tip for flexible travel between those high-stakes meetings.
And I bet they used the travel time productively.
Of course. Tip 6. They were working on the secure Wi-Fi between venues. The result was a flawless, punctual, professional experience that apparently really impressed the investors.
They turned a logistical hurdle into a smooth part of their presentation.
And beyond the 10 tips, the guide does offer a few final pieces of practical advice. One is to actively collaborate with the chauffeur on traffic.
Because they're the local experts.
Exactly. Especially across a region like Riverside, Corona, and Ontario, they know the shortcuts and choke points that GPS might miss. And of course, leveraging that corporate account continuously just keeps the whole system streamlined.
So it all comes back to defining executive transport not as a transaction, but as a proactive, strategic asset.
That's the core of it.
So what does this all mean for you? Well, corporate travel success demands more than just a car. It requires precision, reliability, and strategic planning. These 10 tips, they really give you the framework for high-impact travel that impresses clients and maximizes your own team's productivity.
And what's fascinating here is that the service offers so much more than just a ride. It's a complete logistical solution backed by 247 availability and a fleet designed for basically every business scenario you can think of. And if you connect this to the bigger picture, it raises a really interesting question. When does simple transportation stop, and when does strategic corporate logistics begin?
I think you could argue the moment you book early with that level of intention, the lines are already blurred.
I'd agree. It's a strategic decision from the outset.
So you now have the checklist to simplify your travel management and turn every critical trip into a well-oiled machine. Consider how much time your company might be wasting on uncoordinated transit or the reputational risk of a delayed arrival. What specific aspect of your travel, be it the chaotic billing or guaranteeing a flawless team arrival, would benefit most from shifting from standard booking to this level of customized strategic planning? Just think about that advantage of having a perfectly organized mobile office between appointments.